What about sort of the credential and reader space attracted you to that opportunity?
That's an awesome question. And it really is interesting. Like in every industry, there's an ebb and flow. Like there's a expansion, then you move back to maybe where it was. And I look at computing and it'd say, well, we went from dumb terminals when you're using IBM Token Ring to completely distributed networks. And I think we're almost moving back to that dumb terminal where I can now log on to any machine. I don't have to have my specific computer. I can actually move into that. Well, in the access control world, what I've come to find out is that it started in credentialing and what we could do, what type of modalities, what type of credentials. And then it moved hard for a long time into your world at AMAG, where it's what rules and what features and how do I let somebody in a door? When do I let them? When should I not let them? And if this, then that, like a ton of logic and a lot of feature sets that got built into these access control platforms, and AMAG certainly being at the forefront of that. But now we've come back to that whole world of credentialing. And quite frankly, now it's been tied more into identity, which has a whole different world of what that means. And that's what gets me super excited now of, wow, we're back in this world of the value of your identity in combination with when that door is supposed to open or not for the respective individual and who that individual is really creating this amazing opportunity that we see today.
Yeah, no, I think without being too hyperbolic, I think we're absolutely at an inflection point. I can remember when I was in entry-level sales in upstate New York, and I would have reader and credential salespeople at my office with, the see-through cards or whatever, and talking about, MagStripe and the transformation to procs, and from procs to the different levels of security within a smart card, right? And then eventually also getting into biometrics. I was involved quite a bit with sort of the one card discussion because I did quite a bit of work on universities, college campuses, and obviously they're a great use case and adopter of one card. What is it about sort of where we're going now? And I think there's maybe two conversations here, but what is it about now that the market's ready or seems to be ready for this eventual evolution into the next round of credentials, which we're obviously assuming is mobile, and we're assuming within mobile that it's wallet, right? There's elements of that. So I guess maybe let's just start with that question. What is it about the current state that you're finding users to be ready for this conversation now more so than ever?
I think there's two, maybe more factors, but I'll start with two. One is time. That the time has passed, their technology is legacy, and they're looking for a secure answer, one. And two, we've been led to an entire world where everything we do within a company, everything we do within a government, everything we do within a school, we're used to having a username, password, and some form of two-factor authentication before we can get into anything. And we're logging into, we're getting notifications on text. We're getting, to give me a code, or it happens every day in our life. It doesn't matter if it's my banking. It doesn't matter if I'm logging into Microsoft Teams or Google or whatever I'm logging into. I'm used to interacting with that to validate I am who I say I am right now. And customers are asking us, well, why can't I do that for access control? Because to your point, we started in credentials, and I got a great card here, right? We've all seen this. This is a MagStripe card. And this is where access control started in the 60s and 70s. And honestly, I went to college in the 90s, and, I still have my student ID. and my student ID had a mag stripe. And you know what? Colleges and universities invested in this big. And so did corporations. They're like, this is freaking awesome. Let's put these on all the doors. We'll force everybody to swipe. And what do you know in your one card world? You're like, well, we can use that for lunch swipes too. And we can use that for all these other applications, for checking a book out of the library, for doing all those higher ed world. But in physical security for the corporate world, we're like, well, we could use that too. Well, then eventually that migrated. That's a contact type of installation. You're making contact, you're reading off the mag stripe, and we all learned, whoa, that's insecure. So to your point, we're like, whoa, now we can do contactless. And so we got the same card. Now I can just go up and beep. It beeps the reader. That was transformational, as you're pointing out. Like, that blew people's mind. That you just put a card near it. It could read it, energize it, grab a card number. You're like, wow. Well, that first tech was procs. And then we learned shortly thereafter, it's been almost 20 years, procs is insecure. Anybody can copy procs. And we're seeing all these devices all around the market where you can stand next to somebody, copy the card. You got machines in every freaking grocery store and pharmacy that copies, physical keys. And now they're copying cards, and it costs $5. So, I can copy a key. And now companies, institutions, and governments are going, whoa, we have these cards. This has been great that we've been able to distribute out large numbers of cards. We made it a name tag too. Like, we put your name on it. We put your picture on it. We put your company ID. It's like still a key that, quite frankly, Kyle, you could pick up my card, has my name, my picture, my company, says Wavelynx on it, and you can enter my building. There's nothing about that stops you. Yet everything in our IT world, everything about how we interact with our banking, everything about how we interact with social media, or even our workplace tools would never allow that.